So, hello everybody and welcome to our Vox Mini Webinar series about thinking differently in the new dynamic. We've got a small panel, but they're very good at what they do. I'd like to introduce our Commercial Director, Andy Lawrence.
Many thanks, John, and also welcome everybody to these wonderful mini webinar sessions. It's my pleasure to be here today to host a small Q&A session at the end of the presentation, and I'm lucky enough to have Francesco alongside me. Francesco.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. And today with Andy, we will answer all the most common questions you had in the past webinar. But John, over to you. Let's start.
Great, thank you guys. So let's do this in manageable chunks. We'll talk about the new dynamic that's out there post-COVID. We'll talk about the way forward, how to manage it, smart applications, have a look at that area, and a little chat on Vox Group, and then some next steps. But let's remember that this is an opportunity. Einstein said, "A crisis brings progress to people and nations." He was absolutely right, I believe, because forward-thinking organizations in tourism can take this window and create real opportunities for change as we go forward. People are going to be thinking differently. That's the most important thing to understand. For a long time now, travelers have sought a greater degree of personalization and flexibility during their vacations. But post-crisis, they're going to be thinking even more carefully about how they travel and what they want from their experiences. They'll seek more personalized encounters with local people, and they'll self-impose social distancing, even if it's not enforced. And they'll be more wary of crowds, we know that. But they'll have new interests too. During the lockdown, people have done a lot of widely different things than they were doing previously. They've had the time. And they've also had a huge boost to technical skills. Even older people using their smartphones to communicate with the grandkids and the family, using the smartphone for information, for entertainment, and for research. And so they're going to be much more ready than they were before to embrace digital services when they're traveling as well. How is the recovery going to pan out? Well, we hear so many stories across the world in different patterns. It's really hard to know who to believe. But one thing we do know is that domestic travel will be the first opportunity, and digital services can help enormously in that. We'll talk more about it in a moment. But history tells us that the real onslaught of recovery will happen when the discounting starts, when the cheap airline deals, accommodation deals, and so on will come in. They'll kickstart FIT travel. They always do. And that will eventually be followed by a stronger upturn in FITs as the first tranche come back. And then you'll get MICE, of course, with rescheduled exhibitions and so on. And finally comes groups and main tourism that will be boosted enormously in 2021 by pent-up demand for sure. We may see some wobbles if COVID breakouts reoccur, but all the way through this, FITs are going to be the most resilient and able to resurge more quickly. So there are challenges as well. Of course, the early market is going to be hyper competitive, both for operators in the market and destinations themselves, and market share will be critical. OTAs are going to find themselves competing on commodity pricing, so will agents, and so will suppliers who are selling those same items directly. So we need to see a lot more packaging going on, and venues will need to manage their venue differently, managing crowds, distancing, sanitization, policing and education and so on. And we'll have to rethink group guiding as well. Those traditional groups that gather in the center and go off with a local guide, whatever that might be, will need to think of spacing, equipment and technology. And margins for your partners, your stakeholders, are going to be very difficult. Higher markups will be hard and because of the lack of flexibility in packaging, and sales could be further damaged by limited venue opening and other restrictions and slots and so on. So a few problems out there, but we can stay ahead of all of this if we plan carefully, and success will lie in changing the destination product mix and the price value proposition sometimes to market more effectively. And this window of opportunity is important because we can plan now to be ready in time, and smart technology, using it effectively, it can be a big part of this. We can package commodities and other tourism content with smart technology, and we can create game-changing differentiation against competitors, increasing margins, creating opportunities, and permanently changing the game in your favor. And in the rebound, depending on the sector your partners are in, then basic services such as navigable mapping and tourism information are going to be expected to be digital, even by the older generation. Let's face it, Paper's dead. Who is going to want to walk around with a paper map these days? So if that is your principal process, then that needs to be thought of and changed pretty quickly. Technology is already here for this. You just got to make sure you understand the platform you're thinking of using and the resources that that platform is going to tap into. For example, there are thousands of travel apps out there that you could be choosing from, ranging from basic to more sophisticated, but there are many of them using Google Maps as an example. Is that the right platform? Well, think about it. The biggest thing you need is control of content. The next most important thing is personalization for your brand, for your destination, for your partners. And then you need customer data, because the data you were getting is irrelevant. You need new data about the patterns people are traveling under in the post-COVID recovery. And in Google Maps, the only people that's going to get that data are those very nice folks over in Mountain View in California. Now, basic apps can provide a free map and tourist information, for example, a few downloads, while more sophisticated versions can have multilingual audio guiding, walking routes, interior visits, and much more, along with sponsorship promotions and stakeholder functionality combined with e-commerce even, such as entrance tickets to local attractions and managing tourism flows. But we've got to have some strategies here behind this, and really it's time to think differently. You know, the critical trigger for a post-recovery of COVID will lie in the marketing story that you have and in the operational promise that you can give people when they come to your destination. And these have got to synchronize with the new aspirations and the new preferences of prospects during the all-important dream, plan and execute process. However, if you get this right, complementing your products with digital content, you will transform your proposition, and customers will be better able to customize their personal experiences in your destination, enabling you to dramatically improve your success rate and recommendation and future business in your target customer segments. Let's have a look at how it can apply for destinations and DMOs. A lot of it's about developing new partnership and better managing tourism flows, but it goes far beyond that as well. Let's see. So the factors influencing a traveler's decision on choice of destination, local, regional or national, are many. Aside from perceived costs and value for money, these can include expected opportunities for culture, escape, learning, relaxation, prestige, fitness, adventure, culinary exploration and social interaction, and much more. In the new dynamic, however, visitors will also be seeking a higher degree of flexibility, of personalization, localization, social distancing, health, and opportunities away from the crowds, pretty much in all destinations. Smart technology that's been designed for, provided by, and branded as the destination will help guide visitors to realize these preferences. They operate, of course, these apps operate on a user's smartphone, so they're constantly in his or her possession and will be utilized frequently, day or night. And more than that, they add an extra layer of confidence, freedom, personal exploration, knowledge and security, and allow you to communicate your messaging with multi-language narrative whenever you wish to do so. And if a destination or DMO makes the right choice in technology, then you can also use it, the more sophisticated choice, then you can also use it to welcome, connect and influence visitors before, during and post-travel. You'll improve tourism flows to the benefit of visitors and locals alike. And as the tourist rush begins, walking routes can cleverly move people out of the center to the suburbs or areas seeking tourism development. And instead of lines of people waiting for a midday tour in Russian or Japanese, users can self-guide in their own language and enjoy the city at their own pace. And it's easy to create specialty tours like young explorers, market experiences, pub tours and artisan experiences and so on. And you can support multiple categories of tourist services with these types of apps. Digital services, of course, are not limited by time slots or local guide availability. And again, they work day or night. Now, more than that, you can conduct pop-up surveys and get rich data, heat maps and trend analysis on usage. You've got control of push notifications of e-commerce opportunities and, of course, stakeholder promotions. And more than this even, digital tools can help change your destination experience and marketing message for the new era and can be inexpensively absorbed in regional or local budgets or funding and are quick and easy to implement. So you'll improve the destination concept altogether. Now, just talking of guiding, excuse me, as we were, you're going to see some legislative changes to guiding practices. In the pre-COVID period, it was possible for groups to huddle, so their tour guide could speak directly to the participants at close quarter. In the future, we're going to see operators and municipalities being obliged to use professional tour guide systems to allow their groups to stay distant. These tour guide systems can be either radio devices with a transmitter for the guide and receivers for each visitor, or technology like voice over Wi-Fi units that enable the guide to communicate directly to sophisticated user apps that reside on the user's smartphone over Wi-Fi or other media, to suitably distanced guests who feel comfortable with that technology. And then, of course, self-guiding allows people to really do their own thing, just simply using their own technology. So sophisticated technology can do all of that. But the other thing here, of course, is technology treads lightly. There's no separate or extra hardware. It reduces your printed materials and costs associated with printed materials. It optimizes your tourist flows, deals with over-tourism hot points, reduces crowding generally, helps educate and engages visitors, most importantly, not only with their destination or the stakeholders, but also the local people. So how can Vox play a part in all of this? Well, who is Vox, first of all? Well, we're the leading provider of voice and multimedia in tourism and culture. We've got cutting-edge tour guide systems and logistics at the very heart of our business, and they've always been. This is the technology you need for guiding in any destination. We also have intelligent tourism management software for managing processes in delivering experiences and technology in a destination. And we have smartphone applications and rich content that work on the customer smartphone. But more than that, we're actually a business that's involved in the future for our business partners, for destinations, and for the future of tourism. At the heart of our business, in the digital side, we have PopGuide. Now, this is a very sophisticated tourism app that resides on the customer's smartphone that has bespoke content for you, your destination, and your partners. It has your branding. It has powerful functionality because it harnesses every aspect of the phone's own technology because it's a native app. It actually resides on the phone, and it has a simple user interface that makes it a pleasure for your visitors to be using in the destination. It's an experience, not an app. Never think about it as an app. It's a rich tourism experience. We have a B2B2C version also called Vox City, which is a city wrapped up for sale mainly through ATAs and travel agents. And then we have White Label, which brands the actual app as your own city app that becomes a vehicle on the App Store loaded there as your own product. So that can be an interesting option as well. But in its basic sense, PopGuide provides multimedia content, tourism information, and information for your business partners and communications, along with multilingual audio storytelling on all your points of interest in over 600 cities around the world. You'll also get fully navigable mapping, interactive floor plans, partner information, sponsor points, and of course, initial downloads are quick and easy. So even with full audio content in multi-languages, it won't take up more space than a few pictures taken with the phone camera. Essentially, PopGuide is a city in your pocket, integrating personalized experiences, sightseeing and walking routes with your destination. It's also got a powerful back end, and in the back end we can create unique walking itineraries, bus routes, Segway routes, cycling routes, fitness trails, shore excursions, all sorts of things depending on your destination. And that back-end control also gives you the opportunity to utilize the controls to manage partners, stakeholders, sponsors, and advertisers. You can even add e-commerce with external links or our in-house global software so that geotag pop-ups can appear, welcoming people, making special offers, and so on. These can be adapted on the fly by you in the destination. And then we have interior visits. We can create unmissable visits of famous buildings and galleries and exhibitions and so on. Examples in London, of course, is Westminster Abbey on the screen, you can see there, but the Colosseum, the Pantheon in Rome, the National Gallery, it doesn't matter, British Museum, whatever, any building really. We can also do important quarters of town in this way. Instead of geotag navigable mapping as we have in every city, you can also have visualized simulated 3D mapping of a particular quarter that is really enticing and creates an unmissable experience with multilingual self-guided audio throughout their visit to that particular area. So lots of opportunity in this. You've got push notifications, and you've also got web view, which allows all of this content to be streamed through your own app, if you have your own app, inside a process called WebView, which is using your own app's mini browser to project this content of the city with navigable with navigable mapping or interior visits, as we've shown you already. All of that can happen within your own technology. But let's talk about the data. This is critical, as we said at the beginning. We can give you intention analysis from in-app surveys, App Store data from Google and Apple, granular data from GPS and interactivity of places visited by language, by day, by time, by preference. And we can give you heat maps, detailed heat maps showing you customer interaction with your destination by language, time, and area visited. All of this is GDPR compliant, and we gain no knowledge whatsoever of any of your visitors' personal details. So how does all of this work? Well, it's very simple. We issue you with a QR code. It can be one per every visitor, it can be one per cohort, or it can be one for all your purposes across everything you do, a single QR code. That is then scanned by the visitor camera from a poster, from an advert, from a brochure, from anything that you have, a notice up, it doesn't matter. You can hand it out in your visitor bureaus, it doesn't matter. They scan the QR code, that takes them to the App Store to download the relevant app, which then downloads the contents that the QR code authorized, which will be your city or your buildings or your destination, whatever it might be. It can be as broad as you like. That content is downloaded in the language of their choice, either for offline use or for online use. It's their choice. Now, what sort of projects are we involved with at the moment in this pre-recovery period? Well, we're working with many partners around the world to deliver recovery packages, packaging up flights and hotels and city guiding, self-guided city guiding as a simple initial project. We can do the same for you. We can actually build packages with you. We can work with your local transport operators to turn for example, to turn transfers into experiences with guided audio during their transfer, packaging with third parties, your cycling operators and Segway operators or scooters or taxi operators, providing them the opportunity to create FIT individual packages for people that give them automated audio in their own language, expanding language opportunities for your guides that will be leading, or your hosts that are leading a group around the city, to enable that tour to take place in multiple languages instead of one language, banding venues together to create offers and passes and special themes, creating new products, product creation in areas that you want to develop. I take some big names, but hidden Venice, hidden Paris, hidden New York, or hidden Rothenburg, or whatever your city is. Monetizing free museums and creating richer experience in free museums with audio. Creating unique itineraries that take in special interests like seasonal events or marketplaces, farmers markets. In London, I showed you Covent Garden, for example. That's something, an unmissable visit. And creating hybrid hop-on, hop-off walking tours, or creating combinations with Pop Guide, with physical guides on circuits in cities. And we have lots of ideas in this area that we could be discussing with you. So what are the next steps? This is my last note before I hand to our mini panel. Our next steps are these. We recommend that this is a time to invest in what's going on. We are prepared to do that. Vox will invest time, funding and skills to create tailor-made digital projects with you, with your destination, with your DMO, to the aim of helping you set new standards of tourism for post-COVID recovery. You will have zero upfront investment. We will invest in this. You don't have to, but you should be engaged 100% with us with the project by embracing our philosophy of including digital experiences in every aspect of your destination promotion, not to take over, but to complement what you're doing. And when tourism restarts and the project will be live, the cost to you and your destination and your partners will be marginal compared to the new business generated for your destination and the profits and income and funds that your destination will achieve. You have our assurance that no cost will ever be applied if the project does not bring the results that you expect. That's what I wanted to say. I'm going to hand back to our panel. Andy, if you'd like to jump in here and let's have a chat about some of the questions that we've had on our bigger seminars.
Yeah, thank you very much, John, and thanks for that overview there of Vox and what we can do. Yes, like we said, we've previously held the webinars, and from that we've found some frequently asked questions. So we thought now would be a great time to highlight those and answer them for you as well. So let's get straight to the point. First question, and this is obviously for you, Francesco. How can we connect with you and how do we start a project?
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, John. To connect with us is very easy. Actually, you just need to drop us a line at bizdev@voxtours.com. Then, based on the language that you speak, based on the sector you belong to, one of our experts will get in contact with you, and we will understand together how to tailor a project based on your need. There isn't a real template for PopGuide projects, so everything is tailor-made to your needs. But let's say, I mean, start a project with us is fairly easy. We just need to understand which are your needs, which are your customers' needs, and we will create a project for you.
Thanks, Francesco. And leading neatly on from that, I guess, is how difficult is it to prepare a PopGuide project, and how quickly can the project be set up, and how quickly can it be completed?
For you, it is actually not difficult at all. I mean, we will do all the job. So for you, it's extremely easy, and a PopGuide project can be delivered at the most in 8 weeks. It really depends, as said, in the combination of points of interest, the combination of languages that you require. But let's say at the most 8 weeks, we will do all the job, and you, at the end of those 8 weeks, will receive a PopGuide project done. So zero effort on your side.
Fantastic. Thank you, Francesco. And the other question, what if I already have my own app? How can we work with you then?
As John explained, I mean, we have recently developed the web view version of PopGuide, which means that our PopGuide functionalities can be streamed into your app. No API are required, no difficult IT integration, very, very easy. Just a matter of adding a link to your app or a new button, and you can, from your app environment, stream all the functionalities of PopGuide. If you instead prefer to have two separate apps like Messenger and Facebook, like EasyJet and the Wallet app, we can do that as well. We can create a white label app, which means a new app with your name and your colors and your logo that does just the in-destination guiding, and you can keep your app doing marketing and communication. So it's up to you. If you want to have everything in one place, it is possible. Two separate apps, it is possible as well.
Thank you so much, Francesco. Well, that's all the Q&As that we have now. If you have any questions outside of what you've heard us respond to today, then as Francesco said earlier, please also send us an email at bizdev@voxtours.com, or also visit the website too at voxtours.com. But that's Francesco and I finished. So thank you, Francesco. I'll hand you back to John.
Thank you, guys. And as we've all said, this is the window. This is the time to do it. We want to talk to you now, and we would love to be working with you. So please do get in touch and let's get the narrative going. Thanks very much, everybody. Wishing you all the best. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.